Well, good evening. My name's Rusty, and we're delighted to host this evening's event. I suppose we can blame this on COVID or the bitter cold, but it is what it is. Tonight we're going to learn more about Liz John West, what she stands for, the kind of person that she is. We're going to enjoy some entertainers. We're going to hear from others who know her and worked with her, and you'll have an opportunity to support her and support her campaign. I just also want to let you know that if you have any questions, you can post them on Facebook Live chat. And maybe during the sessions, especially at the end, we'll have a question and answer period. I've known Liz for about 40 years. Now, that might surprise you because Liz probably doesn't even look 40, but I've known her for a long time. I've known her to be a champion of those who feel like they're not heard, and I love her fearless approach to the issues of the city. I'm enthusiastic about her running for this new ward known as Ward Metis. It's the only ward that straddles the river from as far north as Alberta Avenue, as far south as Avonmore. It's a diverse area on the east side. So I'm delighted to introduce to you Liz John West.
Everybody, I just want to also apologize for us starting late. Yeah, it is what it is, and technical difficulties has really pushed this evening forward. So let's begin. On February 26, 2019, my father passed away. He took his last breath surrounded by his loving family. My mom, my siblings, my children, my aunties. And then we honored Dad's life with hundreds of people attending his funeral. It is this image which is etched in my mind as I watch the ravaging effects of COVID on our seniors who have built our nation, but now are dying alone and buried without a celebration of their life with their family and community members. 2020 has been a year that has changed us forever. The devastation of COVID-19, the decimation of Alberta's economy, the number of families accessing food banks and on the verge of homelessness. This past year has turned our world upside down and shown us who we really are as individuals and as a society. Resilient, yes, but fractured and broken. We are at a pivotal fork in the road. The path that we have been on has led us here. But if you want a different Edmonton, then the only path forward is the new one we can build together. I will work tirelessly for you and with you to build a prosperous, safe, and inclusive society. We are at a powerful place in the city's history. With a single vote on election day, you can alter our course. In the words of one of the world's most notable poet, Maya Angelou, the horizon leans forward, offering you space to place new steps for change. I ask you, vote for change, vote for better, vote for me, Liz John West, and let's build together. I'm proud to be running as your city councillor for Ward Metis. Thank you.
I would like to just take a moment to acknowledge that we are on traditional territory and a gathering place of the Cree, the Saulteaux, Black, Nakota Sioux, Métis, and Dene peoples. Their histories, language, and cultures continue to enrich our shared community. I would also like to add that we are all treaty people, and I would like to invite all of you to take a moment to consider your place in reconciliation. At this moment right now, we'd like to talk to Dan Sadowski, and he is our funding person. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dan Sadowski, and I am a supporter of Liz John West and her campaign for City Council. I support Liz because I believe that she is exactly the kind of person that we need on City Council right now. And your presence here tonight tells me that you believe in Liz also. And if that's the case, Liz needs your help. And so I'm here tonight to invite you to become a financial supporter of Liz John West and her campaign for Ward Metis in the upcoming civic election. Running a successful political campaign costs money. And even though the election is not until October, much of the cost of running a campaign occurs early, right now. And so tonight we have set a fundraising goal of $5,000. And this will be a good boost to the funds that Liz has already generated herself and will allow her to move to the next level. And so I'm going to ask you to give tonight. And you can do that by going to the website lizjohnwest.ca, find the donate tab at the top, and you can give there. So no amount is too big or too small. Any donation is received with gratitude and indicates your support of this campaign. Thank you so much, and I will be back in a little bit to tell you about what it's actually really going to cost to win this campaign. Bye for now.
Thank you. Our first performer tonight is a young lady by the name of Becky Sadowski, and yes, she's related to Dan. Tonight, Becky will be performing a powerful dance with a mixture of traditional Métis weaving. Becky is passionate about the Métis culture and as such has taught Métis dance in schools and even at Fort Edmonton. Please welcome Becky as she performs the Sash Maker.
Astam, be witaskimin. Astam, be witapimin. Astam, be kitche pikesquemin. Astam, be wiche matomin. Astam, miu ayimo chiketan. Astam, pe wiche papimin. Astam, pe wiche pakose yimomin. Astam, nikano te tan.
Well, welcome back. Next, you're going to hear from three different people who know Liz and have worked with Liz in different capacities. Kristen Rayworth, Miles Berry, and Anna Bubel. You'll hear a theme run through their comments, such as Liz's ability to listen and to act on what she's heard. I like how Miles asks, what does community mean to you? Consider a candidate who best reflects our values and community. And the first person you're going to hear is Kristen Rayworth.
Hi, my name is Kristen Rayworth. Liz has been committed to local issues and to our community for years. She's dedicated herself to community leagues and to volunteering, and everything that she does with her whole heart. Liz is one of those people who, as soon as you meet her, you know that she's listening to you, not because she has to, but because she wants to, and she really wants to understand different perspectives and different people's views. She's going to be an incredible representative for the entire community because she loves the community. She lives in the community, and she has for decades. And she's raised her family in this community, and she really, really wants to continue to see it be the best that it possibly can, and to bring all of your voices to the city council table, and to ensure that every single voice, small or big, gets heard around that table. She's an incredible advocate and an incredible human being, and I'm really blessed to be able to endorse her today. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Miles. I am a director of civics at the Fulton Place Community League. I'd like people to be thinking about what community means to them. For me anyways, community, connection, and city council all go together. When I grew up, my parents had a very strong sense of community. After they drove through the Mississippi area in the 1950s, they brought back with them a strong sense of dedication to serving the community that they lived in, their church community and the broader community as well. So when I'm considering who I vote for, I'm always thinking about which candidate best reflects these values for me. How can a city councillor help our communities grow to be better, to be more connected, to be healthier, for us to feel as if we are connected to our neighbors in our neighborhood, and maximizing the infrastructure that we have within our community. One of the things that I've done recently is work with a organization called the Greater Hardisty Community Sustainability Coalition. This coalition was built around the notion of our changing mature community needs. We were seeing how our 1960s community was changing, more empty nesters showing up, and we were starting to lose our local schools. So many of us thought this was a great opportunity to be looking at how do we transition from that era into a new one where we can build denser, the infrastructure that we need for families to be safe and healthy, but also transition to a community that has more diversity and more opportunities for a variety of housing needs. So this is one issue that I really encourage voters to be thinking about, and I know that several city councilors are looking at this topic, including Liz.
Well, the reason I'm supporting Liz is because she really understands neighborhoods. She understands what they need. She rolls up her sleeves. She writes funding proposals. She gathers people. She solves community problems. She listens to people and she gets things done. And that's who we need at City Council.
Thank you. Thank you, Kristen, Miles, and Anna. So our second performer tonight is a young man, I think his name is Rice Krispies. No, wait a minute. Right, he's called K-Riz. Now, K-Riz is traditionally from Toronto and is currently living in our beautiful city of Edmonton. He is the new generation of hip-hop artists who are shaken and moving, and his next song he will be performing is called A Place Where Love Is.
Take me to a place where love is. Sing. 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 Yeah. Take me to a place where love is. Paper and a pen, I escape the planet. I just try to stay above-ish. Visions of the moon when I visit Saturn. Imagine life of color doesn't matter. Imagine peace where murder doesn't happen to my people dying in the streets every day around the world. Blood splatter, sit back, chill, watch the flood trap them. Bombs drop, humanity extinct. Tell me what you think was gonna happen. When my folks can't even breathe, knees on their necks, 7 in their back, prisons overpacked, women going missing. Gotta save the children, lot of evil in this living. Hoping that you pay attention. Take me to a place where love is. Love is.
Visions in the sky where the doves live.
Doves live.
Open up the clouds, let the sun shine.
Shine.
Open up your heart, let the good vibes in.
Let them in.
La, 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 la.
Sing.
La, 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 la.
Sing. Sing. Yeah. Take me to a place where love is. Tired of seeing so many people suffer. It's like a jungle, times I have to wonder why we underneath whatever you believe. It's time for peace and love to reach each other. Whatever creed, we all created equal under God's blue sky. We all bleed the same, you and I. It's a shame there's hatred on your brain. Well, I can only wish you sunny days, and I can only hope you feel it shining. Let the water wash away your pain. See, this love is all that I can offer to this world. I just want to see it change for the better. This a home for the future before we lose it. Do it together. Take me to a place where love is. Love is.
Visions in the sky where the doves live.
Doves live.
Open up the clouds, let the sun shine. Open up your heart, let the good vibes in.
Let them in.
La, 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 la.
Sing. 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 Yeah, take me to a place where love is. Love is.
Where I'm free to fly past the summit.
Fly.
Gliding through the air, nothing but open sky.
Open skies.
Master of myself, protector of my tribe.
You know, Rusty, what stands out for me from our last speakers is that when they talked about Liz, they talked about her listening skills. You know, I've known Liz a long time, and she's not that person who, when, you know, you're talking to her, she's checking her phone, she's looking over somewhere else or whatever. And to me, that says to me that she really values people. So some of you may think, why is Liz running? Well, let's see what Liz has to say about that.
Hello, everybody. I'm back. And, you know, I have to be honest with you. See, I even forgot the mic. So I have to be honest with you. This is really bizarre for me to speak into a camera. I rather love to see your faces, your expressions, and have a dialogue here about why I'm running. So at the end, I'll kind of share a little bit more about who I am. But this section, I just want to tell you some of the policies that I'd like to kind of bring to City Council. So if you're joining me today for this launch, I know it's because you care about our ward and our city. So our vision is based on 3 key pillars: quality of life for all, accountability, and fiscal responsibility. What would quality of life for all look like, you may ask? Well, many talk about 15-minute neighborhoods, but imagine 1-minute cities where citizens work with each other to create shared space on their block, which will promote a greater sense of community, decrease isolation, and enhance safety. This work has already begun with the vision of abundant community and our world-famous community leagues. And it becomes even more important as we reimagine life after the pandemic. Picture green spaces where our parks become outdoor community hubs with year-round coffee shops, venues for music, and activities for children, youth, and yes, for us adults as well. Our home has many, many parks in our ward. Bowden, Rundle, Capilano Park, just to name a few. Finally, envision every Edmontonian having a place they can call home, and people no longer permanently sleeping outside or on mats in shelters. If elected, I will work hard to make these dreams a reality. Now, what would accountability from those in power look like? Imagine having your elected officials be accountable to you, and citizens having the power to recall city councilors. Picture responsible infill development with clear regulations for builders to hold them accountable for the potential impact on surrounding homes. Now, for climate change, we need to make changes now to protect our environment. Envision transportation that is diversified: cars, public transit system, pedestrian walkways, and yes, the controversial bike lanes, all coexisting together. Many cities are doing this now. We need to make these changes now to protect our environment for our children and our grandchildren. If elected, I will be accountable to you. Finally, what would financial responsibility look like? Imagine your tax dollars being invested in infrastructure and development projects that will create employment and support for our local economy. Picture police budgets being utilized to better equip police officers with the tools to be responsive rather than reactive to the complex needs and issues of the people whom they serve. Envision supporting local business associations so they can build capacity for small businesses. Finally, visualize the private sector and local governments working together to redevelop derelict housing and abandoned storefronts found in Avonmore and Alberta Avenue, just to name a few. If elected, I will be financially responsible with your tax dollars. If you're ready to reimagine our ward and our city, so am I. Folks, let's build together.
Thanks, Liz. Chances are, as you've been listening to Liz, some questions come up. And I want to encourage you that if you do have questions, you can post this on Facebook live chat. So let me encourage you to do that now during the session, or especially at the end when we have a question and answer. Liz will answer those questions. Next, you're going to hear from 4 more people who know Liz: Carol Zaziba, Anna Schmidt, Shelley Zabo, and Katie Alexander. I like how Shelley says that Liz creates a great ecology of learning. I love that turn of a phrase because it speaks to listening and interacting and taking action. We're going to start with Carol, who says, Liz lives by listening. So we're going to hand it off to the next 4 speakers.
Hello, my name is Carol Zaziba. I've known Liz for over 10 years. We have worked together within the social services industry. We worked together when she was working in the domestic violence programs, supporting women fleeing domestic violence. And within that role, she was in a leadership role as a manager. And currently, I also work with Liz in the capacity of her being the regional service director. She oversees some of our programs that are supporting women and children that are experiencing different challenges. In my experience with Liz, I have known her to be, she's very calm and very approachable, and she presents very quiet, but when you really begin to speak with her, you really begin to see the strength that is in her. She is such a strong leader in that she has some strong listening skills. She leads by listening. She listens especially to the individuals that no one else is listening to. She's very compassionate as a leader. She is able to follow, but she's also able to lead. Most of my experience has been with her being in a leadership role. And it has been an incredible journey to know her as a leader, to know her as a friend. And in terms of even how she engages with people, she is very curious. So she asks a lot of questions from a place of curiosity. And with those questions, she's able to make informed decisions. And she always talks about, as a leader, you never want to make decisions alone. So I would say Liz, as a leader, she is a great listener. She's a leader with compassion. And she's also a leader that wants to be a part of a team. Whenever she talks about some of her achievements and the work that she has done in the community, she never uses I. She always uses that, as a part of a team with others, this is what we've accomplished. So she believes in working from a very collaborative approach, and from that place that allows her to really be much stronger and doing things that are impactful for people, and especially the marginalized. So I would say really in simple, Liz leads from her listening with curiosity and from a collaborative approach.
Hi, I'm Anna Schmidt and I live in Forest Heights. I've known Liz John West basically my entire life. Liz and my mom were roommates over 30 years ago, and then they both got married, had kids, and I'm still very good friends to this day with Liz's oldest daughter, Rachel, and we've been family friends for, over decades, and Liz has been in my life growing up and to this day. I would support Liz on the city council because she is always looking to give a voice to people who might not have a voice, and that's personally really important to me, that she would represent the needs and the desires and the concerns of all of her constituents, and I think that is really valuable. Through the years I've known her, she's been a tireless advocate for social justice, and she is always looking out for marginalized people and people who might not have a voice at the table, and providing her voice to them or lifting them up so they can speak. And I think she would just listen very well. She would be a good city councilor because she would see the issue and then see steps to change that and find practical ways to move the city forward.
Hello, my name is Shelley Sabo, and I've lived in Ward Metis for over 20 years with my family. And I've lived in Edmonton for, let's just say, double that. I'm supporting Liz John West in her run to represent this ward on City Council. And I'm supporting Liz for a number of reasons. I think primarily Liz is an excellent listener. She's an excellent convener. She can bring people together. And I find that she's a very calm collaborator. And she's tough. She's not afraid of conflict. She won't give up, and she pushes through to workable solutions. So the new city plan is outlining how we are going to attract 1 million new neighbors to come live in Edmonton. And Liz has a recognition of all the different parts to make that happen. We need developers. We need a really good, strong working relationship with city administration. And also citizens play a huge role. Citizens and civil organizations or community leagues play a huge role in creating that kind of city that's welcoming and equitable and inclusive. So Liz is a newcomer herself, so I think it's really important to have her perspective on council as we address such a big visionary document like the city plan. And Liz also has so many great connections to people from all walks of life. She's like this great part of this great ecology of learning. And people that really have great ideas on how to make Edmonton a healthy city where all will thrive and where women, children, and gender minorities are safe. I especially appreciate how Liz connects to younger generations and the creativity and the enthusiasm they're bringing to her campaign. We need to support natural community leaders from diverse backgrounds, and Liz is doing this, and they give us such hope for the future of our city. So our 1 million new neighbors also need great places to live, and Liz is very active in her community league and was active on the district at the district level, and she knows about the invisible work that hundreds of Edmontonians are doing to create great places to make friends, to grow up, learn, have fun, and grow old. And she cares about seniors and intergenerational connections that are mutually beneficial. Liz is honest, she's authentic, genuine, and she's very approachable. She's a hard worker. She's managed large budget, staff, and conflict. And I really believe she'll help us create a great ward and city over the next 4 years and into the future, wherever she may end up.
Selon moi, il y a plein de raisons de voter pour lizjohnwest. Il est important d'élire quelqu'un qui sait bien représenter une communauté diversifiée, quelqu'un qui apprécie la richesse culturelle. De plus, voter pour lizjohnwest, c'est de choisir quelqu'un, une conseillère, qui va prendre des décisions basées sur la participation des membres de sa circonscription électorale. J'aime beaucoup qu'elle mette en valeur la responsabilité du conseil municipal aux citoyens. Et enfin, une vote pour lizjohnwest, c'est une vote pour améliorer la qualité de vie pour tous.
Welcome back, everybody. I would like to introduce to you again Dan Sadowski, and he will be discussing funding.
Hello, Dan Sadowski here again, and thank you to those of you who've taken the time to contribute to our fundraising goal tonight of $5,000. And if you have not had the chance yet, I encourage you to go to lizjohnwest.ca and donate towards our goal for this evening. Once again, any donation received is with gratitude and indicates your support of this campaign. Now, you may be wondering, what does it really cost to run a successful election campaign? And what is the money used for? What I can tell you is that in the last civic election in Edmonton, held in 2017, the average amount raised by winning councillors was $70,000. And so that is the overall fundraising goal for Liz's campaign. And that money is essentially required to get Liz's message out into the public space. That includes things like websites, banners, signs, digital ads, and so you can understand why much of the money for this is required now. Liz, as you know, is serious about winning this election. She has committed significant time and personal resources to this effort. And if what you're hearing tonight resonates with you, we're asking for your financial support. Your contribution to tonight's goal means a lot, and it will get us closer to where we need to be. Thank you.
You know, Rusty, I was just here thinking, and I was thinking about, the kind of rappers we used to have back in the 80s, right? And I know that there's this one rapper, I think his name was 50 Cent. I think he got shot, and he has a piece of a bullet like in his tongue or something, right? But, I was just thinking about our economy and how things are going and stuff like that. And I was thinking to myself, if we had our own rapper, we'd probably have to call him 2 Bits.
Holly, you don't make us look cool when you say things like that.
Well, I look cool. So we have another performer that's coming up, And I thought this guy's name was TikTok. And the reason why I thought his name was TikTok, because, you know, the TikTok guy had that big old Timex clock right over here, and then he had this chain, you know, kind of tied around his neck. But, you know, my kids told me, you know, like, that's not TikTok, Mom. That's Flavor Flav. So I thought, oh, okay. Well, anyhow. But anyhow, we have a performer. This young man, his name is Faves. Not Flavor Flav, but Faves. Now, Faves is a man of the spoken word. He is an artist who takes his pain and transforms it into something beautiful. His poetry has taken him to the nationals. Faves will be sharing his piece called Take Heart.
So I want you to take a listen. Open your heart to every victim. Take a moment so you can envision this reality of what we are living. It's a tragedy what society's missing. The knowledge of losing is gifted. It's this life that's been conflicted, compelled to the perfect image, so you never know what's worth risking while these youth are barely existing. Caught living in a broken system, how many people are still forgetting the actual number of this statistic? It's like you're still not even interested. You vocalize, but these numbers rise, so how is this going to be okay? I want you to take a listen to more than just these words, a couple adjectives and verbs just to speak about this curse. So take this for instance, if someone you love committed the final breath they were given was considered another statistic. It's a tragedy where we are living. Losing someone of these gifted because the knowledge that they had never seemed to be seen. You believe that they shouldn't chase dreams, you overlook those ones. Bullied for trying different things because no matter how hard they tried, you never gave them a path to shine. You told them life was going to be fine, but that was a part of the big lie. So the stain in the system isn't these kids who dream, it's the fact that you believe this is the way it's supposed to be. When are you going to see every family still struggling because they're missing a piece that will make them feel complete? I'm enraged but engaged to be able to speak my mind. I have to work to make this right. Maybe then I could save a life. Because when I heard the news, I didn't know what to do. I was dazed and confused. I'm feeling lost without you. It's like I always tried to prove you had this light around you. Now I'm thinking of those days there was more that I could do. It could have been my message helped see you through these tough and difficult times when you can see own light. Now I'm struggling just to find those next words to write. It's been messing with my mind and it shouldn't be right. See, I lost a brother who was part of my family. 4 years later, and it's still hard to believe that I've been drowning in this ocean with uncontrolled emotions. I've been feeling so hopeless, trying just to cope with the fact that you ain't here, which is my biggest fear. Brother, I hope you're near. Your voice is something that I hear. It's been a tough year. I ain't been seeing so clear. You left me with that demon, and I've been shedding some tears. So how do I heal when my family's still in pain? I think of those days when your last breath was made. Sure, my life has changed ever since that day. But all I really think about how I be today. With you around telling me to stay the same, it's hard right now to reflect and be okay. I've covered up the pain, but I need to turn the page. I remember how you say it wouldn't always be this way. And I regret the words that I never got to say. Thinking there was time before it was this way. See, I tried to pray, but I know that won't change. All these mistakes that society has made. But making you feel a victim and only giving you one decision. I miss you when your presence is something I'm not forgetting. It's been a blessing. And these memories are all I have. I'll hold them close and think of my brother who was passed.
Welcome back. I want to let you know that we are getting your questions, so we will be answering these questions in a question and answer period at the end. Our last three speakers of the evening are Amanda Harriman-Goten, Caitlin Beaton, and John Lilly. They're going to share firsthand how Liz works in the community where she lives, the community where she lives, that is in Ward Metis.
Liz would be a good candidate because she is genuine and she has integrity. One thing that I like about her is that I've actually seen her in the community. She comes to community events. She's involved with a lot of different initiatives, and I do like that she has knowledge of what's going on in the community and that she's worked in the community not only professionally in the social service sector, but that she's been involved at a neighborhood level. She's worked on kids programs, she's helped with park revitalizations. She's involved in not only her community league, but she sits on the EFCL board. And I think all of that is very important, to have someone who knows what is going on and what's important to people in the neighborhood. Anyone can seem good if they have 2 or 3 well-written sentences on a pamphlet. She's more than that. She means what she says, and she says what she means, and she really wants to hear what the community needs and wants, and she listens, and she tries to do her best to bring citizens' vision to the municipal level.
My name is Caitlin Beaton, and I am a Highlands resident, and I work at a local nonprofit as a director, and we serve people who are homeless and living in poverty. I think Liz would be a great city councillor because she is passionate and she has a good handle on issues that impact all Edmontonians. And so for me, in my job as a social worker, I work with some of the most marginalized people, and I know that Liz in her career has worked with vulnerable children and youth and adults throughout their lives, and so I think it's important to me that my city councillor is not only representing me and my voice, but also is thinking about people who are more marginalized and don't necessarily always represented and have a voice at the table. I think Liz would make a great city councillor in addition to her skills, but it's also important for me as I raise young children that they see women represented in all levels of government. So I am proudly supporting and standing by Liz as she runs for city councillor for Ward Metis.
Good afternoon. I'm John Lilly, and I'm a retired physician. Since retirement, I've worked in the inner city on a program you may have heard of called Pregnancy Pathways. I'm very proud of that program. LizJohnWest joined our steering committee a good half dozen years ago. At the time, she was managing Valeda House for Catholic Social Services, and she had amazing skill and experience that we could take advantage of with her presence on our committee. Since then, I've gotten to know Liz just a little bit better. Last campaign time, I had coffee with her when she was door knocking, and I grew to realize that she had a great knowledge about poverty in Edmonton and the impact on children and adolescents and their parents. There's a lot we need to do here in our city, and we have to do it with empathy. We're headed for hard times. We have to get through our pandemic, and we have to recover from the oil crisis, you might say, and the response to climate change that needs to occur. LizJohnWest would be the right person for city council. From what I know of her, she's a great candidate because she's working now in the management level of social work. She manages staff, she manages budget, and that's what she'd need to do on city council. And then in recovery of our economy, she will need to make decisions along with her fellow councillors, and she's going to bring diversity to the table. She's an immigrant, she's a woman, she's a visible minority, and diversity is important. The Harvard Business Review has documented better decision-making by boards, or in this case, city council, when there's diversity present. I'm an older, privileged white male, and yet I am very happy to vote for LizJohnWest. It's time to recognize the need to include everybody in society in positions of authority for the better decision making and to demonstrate the true values of our nation. We need efficiency and we need warmth and empathy with our city councillors. So everybody in Ward Metis, please consider Liz John West, for your vote in October. Thank you.
And we're back. Thank you, Amanda, Caitlin, and John. I just wanted to remind everyone that all the speakers tonight are people who live in your community. And they might know Liz in a different capacity, either professionally or even personally. I think, and this is just my own personal opinion, but I think it's about time that we have a city council that is reflective of our richly diverse community. What do you think, Rusty?
Yes, I agree. People who look like me and you, I suppose.
I guess so. Maybe some other people too, right?
Yes, that's right.
Definitely. So now I would like to introduce to you 3 very talented individuals. Their names are Selassie, Aliza, and Alain. These artists work both collaboratively, and they also have their own individual projects. They will be performing Falling.
I thought I hit rock bottom. Now I see this more of falling.
Look, let go and lift our blisses. Fools think we live this like Christmas. Life served me all but my wish list. Burn me alive, the nightmares is endless. Tough skins to get work to stretches. Fence up but life shoot through hedges. You bends up but you weep and wet it. Someone show me life past multiple measures. Shut y'all, now feet planted steady. We cool out the pull out confetti. This war I was all done already. Well, excuse me, but this crown got heavy. Bet y'all these fools ain't so scary. They still breathe but they souls been buried. Blackout and these snakes get splattered. And Marshall, you slim shake don't matter. I told y'all don't guess my steez. And if you've been about it from time, why plead? Food to getting ready for them clowns like these. This aim at you, get wet like sneeze. Probably shouldn't live solely on your belief, because everything you shun is a threat to your sleep. Hit rock bottom, crashed on a high beam. Seen death twice, couldn't ask why me. Used to keep my doors open, then I got them shut. Parasitic voices put me in a bloody rut, stabbing every part of me and drilling every gut. Couldn't tell you what the feeling was, and I put in lots, you know I don't settle much. But you look me in the eye and tell me level up. Right, I'ma turn it up a notch and you're down for here's what you call a petty bluff. If they're dope, then call me Maestro. Better yet, I'm fucking Michael. See no kings wherever I go. A blind man asking where the light go. Go, eyes wide open through the mission. Sitting pissing on the vision. Ain't nothing but don't tell me where to step. I promise we ain't petty, we ain't kids. Why see it as a lesson, but they paranoid and thinking that I'm vexed. If it was an issue, then you wouldn't have to guess. Like Nikes, man, so the product been checked. Don't bank sets, man, I put it on chest. Don't live on code, I don't need the respect. If you're king, will explain this first. What's a king in the ghost town so cursed? Heart stiff cold like a clutch in a purse. Hit rock bottom and there ain't no reverse. I'm here.
Focus on the next man's wrongs first. I gotta get mine right. Ever seen the color block shine bright? That's the kind of light I'm like. Took a fall, thought I was gonna hit rock bottom. Instead, I just took flight. Yeah.
I thought I hit rock bottom, but now I see there's more of when I finally get there, I'll be forced to go and change it up. I thought I hit rock bottom. Now I see there's more of when I finally get there, I'll be forced to go and change it up.
Welcome back. I'm happy to introduce Liz to you again for the last time tonight, but it won't be the last time you see Liz in your community working for you. As she says, let's build together. I read a really interesting article in the Edmonton Journal a few weeks ago that quoted Catherine O'Neill. She's the CEO for YWCA Edmonton, and she noted that 2021 marks the 100th year anniversary since Edmonton elected its first female city councillor, a woman by the name of Izina Ross, way back in 1921. She noted that Edmonton has only had one female mayor, and we have not yet elected a woman of color. There are right now only 2 women among the 12 city councillors, so it's time for change, and I'm delighted to introduce Liz John West as a change agent for Ward Metis.
Thank you, Rusty. Well, welcome back, you guys. This will be my concluding statements. I want to share a little bit of who I am. So I've lived in Ward Metis and area for the past 30 years. I've been involved in grassroots community work where I have sat on the Edmonton Federation of Community League Board representing 13 neighborhoods. I've also sit on the Alberta Avenue Community League Board. I've been involved in neighborhood soccer programs, built playgrounds, as well as parks. I'm deeply rooted here, and I have a clear vision of how to make our community and our city flourish. This vision is what has driven me all these years to work with our city's most vulnerable population. Whether it was working with the homeless, or at the federal women's prison, or with domestic violence victims. It has never been lost on me that when we work to elevate the marginalized, we are in fact elevating all of society. My husband Jeff and I were intentional when we chose to build our lives and raise our 3 daughters in Ward Metis. The cultural tapestry within our ward provided fertile ground for our children to embrace various cultures and languages. Having them attend Holyrood School and Kenilworth Junior High gave them opportunities to immerse themselves in the French language and build lifelong friendships. At the same time, it was impossible to ignore the paradox that exists within our ward between some of the best living conditions and some of the worst. I ask you, what are your dreams for our city, our community, our future? It may be difficult for you to see what our city could be, but with the right leader who can handle the pressures of our current situation and who is prepared to embrace change and act on it, this dream can be a reality. I have never been a woman who has shied away from complex issues or difficult circumstances. As a leader in the social services sector for many years, I know how to accomplish a lot with little resources. I know how to negotiate with provincial government on million-dollar contracts. And most importantly, I know how to listen. I've been paying attention to our ward for the past 30 years. I have listened. Remember, your vote can alter the Edmonton's future. What Edmonton looks like 20, 30, or even 40 years from now is up to you. And the choice you make on October 18th, 2021. So I ask you to vote for change, vote for better, vote for me, Liz John West, and let's build together. So now I want to invite Dan in the flesh to come on up, and you know what he's going to be talking about. Come on in, Dan.
Thanks, Liz. And one thing I know is that I think your message is resonating with the public and with our listeners tonight. And thank you so much for tuning in. I feel excited, and I think we all feel your message resonating with us right here in the studio. And I have to say that even though we had a late start, and even though we had some technical glitches, donations are coming in. And so I want to thank each and every one of you for your commitment. It means so much to Liz and to the team to indicate your support for this campaign. And so there's still time tonight. I would encourage you to go to the website, lizjohnwest.ca. You'll see a highlighted donate tab at the top, and you can click there and you can make your donation. And every gift is received with gratitude and means so much, and it indicates your support for this campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. And I too want to thank you for the donations that you've given. And I want you to know that I will be responsible for every cent that you have given. And I really appreciate everything that you've given so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Dan. I would like to just take this time to thank everyone for joining us online tonight. And again, our apologies for our technical issues. I know that these are really tough times with COVID and people losing their jobs and all of these serious concerns that are happening to our community, to our planet. But I would like you to just take a moment, and if you could afford to even pay $5, $20, whatever you can do to contribute to the campaign would be greatly appreciated. If you could please support Liz John West, and let's build together. So our last performance tonight will be a young lady by the name of Lyra Brown. Once we hear from Lyra Brown, we will be coming back again to answer some of the questions. So Miss Lyra Brown will be performing No, Now, and Then. And thank you for joining us, and stay tuned.
I miss the way you held your pen, and I miss the way you said my name. I may never see you again, but I have your picture in a frame. Do you still smell the same? And do you still tell the truth? If you ever look for me, I'll be in the pages of our youth. I'll cut it out, I'll try again. If only I knew what I know now, then I'll cut it out, I'll try again. If only I knew what I know now, then. Loneliness can make us do all kinds of senseless things. All the time I spent with you was like a wounded
Well, thanks for joining us tonight. Your time and your support means a lot to us. Everyone is feeling the crunch during the pandemic with their dollars, and so we can't say enough about you engaging with the Liz John West for Ward Metis. The election is actually October 18, and so when you go to the ballots, look for John West, Liz John West. We do have some questions, and I'm going to ask Liz these questions. John asks, how can the capital budget get adjusted down to affordability without compromising the quality of life in our city?
Well, John is my friend, and he asked me the hardest question. Thank you, John. So, one of the things I've worked with budgets for years, and one of the things that we often do on a quarterly basis is we assess and we adjust to the needs of the people. And so many times when we look at budgets, we're always looking at what are the needs of the people. We put that in the center and we look at how do we adjust. There are many, many line items where we can look at if it's in the staffing or if it's in the training, if it's in capital projects. Can some of those be done in another year so that the quality of life, especially during this time, is not compromised? And again, to have a very specific answer, I would have to really look at the budget to see where can we do some assessing and some adjusting.
All right. Diane asks, how can we attract families to our area and rejuvenate our older communities?
Great question, Diane. As many of you know, Ward Metis has 30 neighborhoods, and all 30 neighborhoods are considered mature neighborhoods. Many of our schools have been closed, and therefore we do have more housing coming in. What I would really want to see is the new houses that are coming in, they become more and more affordable, so young families can move in, which would rejuvenate our schools, maybe have more schools come back into the mature neighborhoods, as well as we need to support our small businesses which exist within our neighborhoods.
Len asks, how would you continue to represent Ward Metis and provide opportunity for civic engagement through your role as a city councillor? I think it's this balance between you representing your ward and sort of the big picture of city council. I wonder if you can answer that.
That's a great question, Len. I've been asked this numerous times. How do we make sure that our city councilors keep their feet to the ground when they go to City Hall? And one of the policies that I've often had within all of my jobs in leadership is we always have an open door policy, where people are and staff are coming into my office to find out more questions, be inquisitive, and I'm very much about asking people, what is it that I'm supposed to pay attention to? How do I adjust some of the policies that are coming up? I want to hear from the people because really, I work for you.
Well, this next question from Omar probably speaks to that too. He says, one of the things I appreciate about civic politics is the lessening effects of partisanship. Our current political climate has become increasingly partisan, and he says, I'm curious to know how you will, what you will do at City Hall to keep things from becoming partisan.
That's a great question as well, Omar. Omar, when I ran in 2017, I was very intentional that I did not want the backing of any party members. And 2021, I've made a conscious decision. I do not want to go into city council with having a certain party policy backing me up. And so I am very intentional about it. I'm strategic about it. I want to go into city council representing you, the people.
Well, the last question I have tonight is from Norma, and she asks, Liz, do you have anything on your table for the working poor, in brackets, decreasing property taxes? Wonder if you can answer that kind of question.
Yes, Norma, most of my work has been with the working poor, and the struggle is incredibly real. And so that's the beauty of having a diverse city council, that I can bring the voice of the working poor to the table with the experience that I have. Of course, let's look at property taxes. What are the ripple effects when we decrease it as well as when we increase it? Who is it going to affect? Is it the poor, the working poor? Let's look at transit fares. Can we have a policy where we could create more and more subsidized fares? And of course, you know, I'm a big proponent of supporting home-based businesses. Can we decrease some of the red tapes that's involved in creating home-based businesses?
Well, that's all the questions that we received so far. Thanks for joining us tonight. I wonder, Liz, if you have any last words you'd like to say.
Well, I too really want to thank you for joining us tonight. I recognize it's late, and I thank you for many of you that have been hanging in there. And I hope to see you on the doorsteps in Ward Metis. Thank you.